is that one of the new members of the Community Advisory Board wanted me to introduce to you and actually ask members of the ESIS class to volunteer. Pamela Angel at the St. Luke's Healthcare Clinic has started her own project called Cafe Salute. And every first and third Tuesday from 6 to 8, the cafe will be in the front of the clinic actually. And their mission is to build a stronger, healthier community through prevention, education, social interaction, and fun. The purpose of her project is to form an integrative approach to providing health and wellness information to people with low or no income in the wider interested community in a safe, enjoyable environment. So we're part of the project, actually Camp Hope. The Department of Health, Disease Prevention team is there, and the NMSU Department of Public Health Sciences so far on board. And what they do is, actually they've only had one so far, but it was actually pretty cool. I think it was Pamela's nephew plays music, he has his own band, so they came and played some music. The disease prevention team came and brought their mobile unit. They handed out condoms and they did needle exchange. They also did a like 5 to 10 minute Narcan training. I don't know if you've heard about that. It's a nasal spray that you can use to actually help people that have overdosed on any kind of opiate. So people that are popping pills or whatever, like if they actually go out and under, you just spray the stuff in their nose and they snap out of it. It gives you like a half hour window to call the illness people. So that was actually really cool. We didn't even know they did that, but I really appreciate it because you see a lot of weird stuff when you're homeless. So yeah, that's the first and third Tuesday from 6 to 8. And what she was interested in, she's trying to kind of broaden the scope of it to include mental health. I think right now the only group that's currently working with her is Esperanza Mental Health Services. Esperanza has also been, I've been working with them to come out and do outreach. We have a very kind of scary synthetic drug issue in the homeless population, which is not just the homeless, actually. I've heard a lot of the high school kids are on the same issue too. But that spice, synthetic marijuana, and this bath salt stuff. We've actually had that experience in our camp of just watching people kind of slowly deteriorate over a month or over weeks just from smoking that stuff. I think that salt stuff, they actually slam it and snort it and smoke it too. But we can see how it's affecting people. And I always tell, like, I even said that to the Esperanza people before they came and did their first little class about it, that my concern was seeing the poly drug use, like when people are using that with alcohol, pills, and that weird stuff that, you can't even get tested for any of that stuff because they can't see it in your blood. And that's hopefully the reason why people do it, but it's really kind of terrifying to see people interrupted on a cognitive level that way. Like they stop knowing and they're surviving, especially people who are homeless, stuck in that rhythm anyway. So that was my concern. Esperanza's been really good about kind of trying to help us with that. I think actually one of the other women in the CAB group is also interested in doing a greater study and research projects on the synthetic drug stuff too, so hopefully we'll be able to be part of that. But Pamela was really interested in having university students just come to volunteer, not necessarily just as part of your service project, but just to be part of our community. She needs people to help organize food stuff, to get musicians, like she wants performers, like even if they juggle or tell jokes, or just to keep people entertained for a couple hours. She needs help with setting up stuff, tearing down. And there's a lot of really cool people over at the clinic. All the ladies that work there are really, really devoted, just awesome people. So feel free to help out. I'll leave these flyers here. Her number is on here if you're interested in volunteering.
Yeah, just put them on the front desk right there so we don't...
This one?
No, on this table right there by...
Oh, this table?
Yeah, put them right there so we'll make sure everybody gets one on the way out.
Cool. And I'll put my card on here. This has our website on it. I manage the camp blog site. I put pictures of all of the events of people that come out to barbecue for us. Last night we had a young, up-and-coming rock/rap funk Christian rock band from Las Cruces and their entire family and their crew came out and barbecue for us. They didn't play music, which I was disappointed about, but hopefully they'll to sound like Lincoln Park, actually. Really, really, really cool young guys, and their families were awesome. They had everybody smiling and laughing. And I think even the lead singer gave one of our guys a haircut, so they were very talented. But yeah, we have all kinds of volunteers from the community who are coming out, and it's really always awesome, you know, especially the churches. They don't come and proselytize and pray and lay hands on people. They just come out to hang out, and they bring their kids, and you know, they hang out in the camp as well. So I mean, it's been turning out to be a real kind of educational experience for people, just on that everyday kind of life tip. But I don't know what Lisa wanted me to talk about in terms of helping you kind of, you know, perceive what the needs are, or what kind of projects would be possible on the community.
Well, maybe we can just open it up for some questions, and let's let the students kind of direct the dialogue.
How many people do you turn, like I said, how many people do you usually turn away?
To stay?
Yes.
Actually, that's a very interesting question. The only other shelter in Las Cruces is actually the Gospel Mission, which is right across the street from the Community of Hope campus. I'm actually not sure what their capacity is. Mr. Sykes or James, do you know?
It's
Because they have the women's side of the dorm where they also allow children,
about
but
150.
the men's side of the dorm is
Well, they can and men and women.
We've been having that issue, and we try to be very diplomatic about even discussing the mission, because it's the only other place where people can stay, and we don't want to, you know, make that any harder than it is. But they have their own way of doing things, because they're a private entity. They don't actually have to cooperate with anybody else, because they're privately funded. They don't receive any state funding or city funding. So yeah, when you check in there, you have to go to church every night. You have to be in by 5. Like, you have to be out of the building by 6 in the morning. So it's very limited when you're talking about homeless people, especially the transient homeless population. To say, like, well, you only have 3 days to stay there before you have to prove to them that you don't work, or that you have something going for you, that you can actually stay there for maybe 3 weeks. So it's really hard on people. And that's something we've been very conscious of, trying to manage the camp. Like, James was very integral in helping me design the office for the camp. So we designed all the paperwork, all the spreadsheets. We have an RV actually that we use as our office. Just to kind of keep it as organized as possible, so that we can actually not only know the people that are living there on paper, but that we can also show, you know, the agency that we're cooperating with, so that they can help get more funding, or, you know, to help elucidate what the population really is. So, like I said, the city capped our limit at 50 people, so we've been at that limit since January.
Why only 50?
Just because of the space, and actually that's currently the stage that we're at. In March, we went back to City Council and asked them for an extension, because that was what they wanted in March. And they said yes. You can keep the tent city for as long as it needs to be there. But to keep the tent city, they have to rezone the property, because it's city property. So that's what they've been busy doing the last month, and we're just starting to get the first guidelines of how we're going to have to change to meet the zoning codes to rezone. One of those things is that the fire chiefs have said that every tent on the property has to be flame retardant. So that means, like, we have 37 tents. 7 tents are actually cameras. All of the other tents are Walmart tents, or tents that you buy at Big Five. So that means 30 tents have to go in like a month. So for us, that's, you know, a funding issue, because it took, we've been collecting tents since November. So that's our hurdle, is how are we going to replace all of these tents and meet all of these zoning issues, and actually